You're on.
Hello, Medford Poetry Gathering friends. This is Vince,
This is Naomi.
welcoming you once again to our home for another edition of our August 2020 Poetry Gatherings. This video will be posted on the Medford Arts Center website at medfordarts.com, and you can also search for this video on YouTube. Simply search for Medford Arts Poetry. This month we've been celebrating the words of local artists, but we've also been paying very special attention to the words of the Suffragettes and other women who continue to inspire us. We'll also close today with a very special edition of Words of Impact. Let's begin with words from local artists. Two of our local artists have had the joy of observing their backyards, and many of us who have been home all these weeks and months have been doing the same, staring out back, looking at nature, watching the trees wave. But in this special instance, there were some very special animals involved. This is from Pat. Feeder fight tonight. Tom Turkey versus Sam Squirrel. Sold out. Turkey shadow. Birds scatter into the trees. Squirrel holds ground. Sunflower seed feast. Too good to leave. Sam chews on. Tom takes a stand. Tree escape. Blocked. Tom goes in for the kill. Misses. But sunflower seeds his. Sam leaps to the deck. Shivers in the corner. Aha! Tom doesn't do steps. Sam Squirrel spread out on the deck. Heat beat. Vulnerable. Tom Turkey tiptoes onto the first step. Looks. No challenge. Chickadees, finches rejoice. Peaceful mealtime. Compassionate Tom. Thanks, Pat. Our good friend Limerick Joe continues the backyard observation. Sam Squirrel and Tom Turkey got surly. Wiry Sam and Tom, who was burly. A battle ensued, the outcome quite crude. Didn't know squirrels celebrated Thanksgiving so early. Thanks, Joe. Now we're going to move on to one of our favorite local poets. This is Sunflower by John P. Dennison. I was once a seed, and there became a need to grow up real tall and show my colors to one and all. My sturdy stem will be green, with lots of buds to be seen. I'll have some leaves on me too, and they will be all new. Up and up I will grow, reaching for the sky, and will get taller than both you and I. My center eye will be round and brown, with pretty yellow petals all around. I'll be inside, then outside too, there in the sunshine for you. But before I grew tall, I was bought at the mall and given to loved ones dear. The other loved one will keep me here. Thanks for choosing me, the sunflower. I think we're going to pause for a moment and readjust the camera. Thank you, Naomi. There we go.
There you go. That's
Okay.
better. Okay.
Now we're going to move on to the words of the Suffragettes and the women who inspired them and women who continue to inspire us today. Our first artist was born July 22nd, 1849 in New York City. She's an author of translations, prose poetry, and the inspiration of many women who followed her. She, as a poet, was first inspired by the Civil War. She was active in Jewish causes and became an example for all women because she was one of the first to be able to make a living as a writer. We know her for her poem, The New Colossus. This is Emma Lazarus's work. Yet life is not a vision nor a prayer. but stubborn work, she may not shun her task. After the first compassion, none will spare, her portion and her work achieved, to ask. She pleads for respite, she will come ere long. When resting by the roadside, she is strong. Nay, for the hurrying throng of passers-by will crush her with their onward rolling stream. Much must be done before the brief light die. She may not loiter, wrapped in the vain dream. With unused trembling hands and faltering feet, she staggers forth, her lot assigned to meet. But when she fills her days with duties done, strange vigor comes, she is restored to health. New aims, new interests rise with each new sun, and life still holds for unbounded wealth. All that seemed hard and toilsome now proves small, and naught may daunt her. She hath strength for all. Emma Lazarus. Next, an artist born December 12, 1873 in Dublin. Editor, feminist, painter, poet. She came to America in 1907 and settled in Greenwich Village. She became involved in the working class politics and protests of the day. She wrote about World War I, the Great Depression, and women's suffrage. This is To the Others by Lola Ridge. I see you, refulgent ones, burning so steadily like big white arc lights. There are so many of you. I like to watch you weaving all together and with precision, each his ray, your tracery of light, making a shining way about America. I note your infinite reactions in glassware and sequin and puddles and bits of jet, and here and there a diamond. But you do not yet see me, who am a torch blown along the wind, flickering to a spark, but never out. Lola Ridge. Next, an artist who was born July 28, 1874 in New York City, screenwriter, novelist, and a political poet. She wrote satirical poems about women's suffrage, and she had a way of getting to the point. This is Alice Duer Miller's Male Philosophy. Men are very brave, you know. That was settled long ago. Ask, however, if you doubt it, any man you meet about it. He will say, I think like me. Men are brave as they can be. Women think they're brave, you say? Do they really? Well, they may. But such biased attestation is not worth the consideration, for a legal judgment shelves what they say about themselves. Alice Duer Miller. Next, we'll move on to two quotes from women who led the suffragette women movement. And the first comes from an individual who was born in Liverpool, England on March 10, 1848. And in doing research for these poems, I found that a lot of the suffragette women began overseas with their movement, and their voices carried to America. This is one of those voices. Born again in Liverpool, but emigrated to New Zealand in 1868, where she became an activist in religious and social organizations. But she began promoting women's suffrage, and in 1893, New Zealand became the first large country to have universal women's suffrage. After that, she traveled the world speaking out on suffrage, and she came to the United States, to England, and to Canada. And in one of those speeches, this is what Kate Sheppard said. Is it right your mother, your sister, should be classed with criminals and lunatics? Is it right that while the gambler, the drunkard, and even the wife-beater has a vote, earnest, educated, and refined women are denied it? Is it right that a mother should be thought unworthy of a vote that is freely given to the blasphemer, the liar, the seducer, and the profligate? The words of Kate Sheppard carried overseas, where our next suffragette took up the mantle of the woman's vote. Born on February 15, 1820 in Adams, Massachusetts, American social suffragette and reformer, Susan B. Anthony started as a teacher. She became friends with Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and they took up the mantle of women's suffrage in the United States. But when Susan B. Anthony tried to speak at the New York State Teachers Association meeting in 1853, her attempt sparked a half-hour debate among the men about whether it was proper for a woman to speak in public. When she was finally allowed to stand and speak, this is what Susan B. Anthony said. "Do you not see that so long as society says a woman is incompetent to be a lawyer, minister, or doctor, but has ample ability to be a teacher, that every man of you who chooses this profession tacitly acknowledges that he has no more brains than a woman?" Well, Susan B. Anthony's words echoed across our country, and 100 years ago, women received the right to vote. Since then, words of other women have continued to inspire us. One such woman was born April 4th, 1928. She was a civil rights activist, a writer, and a poet. And in 1978, she published her third volume of poetry. Included in that volume was her favorite poem. And here to read it is my favorite woman. Naomi's going to join us for a special reading of Maya Angelou's Still I Rise.
Hi, everyone. Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room, just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. And I'd like to mention that I would like to encourage you to read and look at Maya Angelou's version of this poem. It's beautifully, she recites it so beautifully, of course. I will be putting a link onto the YouTube comment section, so you'll be able to click on it and see her version of this beautiful poem, and it is spectacular how she has presented it. So, and now we are going to do something a little bit different. We always, at the end of each of our poetry gatherings, invite our friends to share in a reciting of a poem. And we've been reciting A Blessing by Don O'Donohue, and we decided to try something different. So if you don't have it in front of you, we're going to put it in front of you, and we'll do that right now so that we could all read it together before we say goodbye. And let's see if this works. Okay.
1,
2, 3.
May you awaken to the mystery of being here and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence. May you have joy and peace in the temple of your senses. May you receive great encouragement when new frontiers beckon. May you respond to the call of your gift and find the courage to follow its path. May the flame of anger free you from falsity. May warmth of heart keep your presence aflame. And may anxiety never linger about you. May your outer dignity mirror an inner dignity of soul. May you take time to celebrate the quiet miracles that seek no attention. May you be consoled in the secret symmetry of your soul. May you experience each day as a sacred gift woven around the heart of wonder.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this poetry gathering.
And we'll see you again next Friday.
Stay safe, stay healthy,
Be well.
be well.